So here we are a week after, just about a week after the debates, the French debate, the English debate, and then the surprise just before the French debate got underway, the big story turned out to be who wasn't in the debate, and that was the Green Party, who were told by the commission that for whatever reason they didn't meet the criteria that had been set in place. A lot of questions around that, and of course since that time there have been other issues as well. Now the story, I guess, might be that this commission be disbanded altogether for the way they handle things this year as well. Jonathan Pedneault is co-leader of the Green Party of Canada. He's also a candidate, of course, in Outremont. He's from here, and he is on the line. Jonathan, thanks for being here this afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
Let me kind of go back in time. It's kind of weird. I know the party doesn't have much support across the country. I mean, it's roughly, let's say, 2 to 3%. But I think a lot of people felt bad about the way that your party and you were treated prior to the debates. How much of that did you know was coming, if any?
When it comes to the debates?
Yeah, you were invited, then you were disinvited. Did you have a sense that was going to happen?
Not at all. We learned about it the day of.
And what was the reason given? Because I've heard varying, sort of accounts here of why that happened. What did they tell you?
They kept changing the story afterwards. But look, the point here is that critical, voice, and I believe another voice, that should have been heard at the debate wasn't. And I think there will be serious considerations that will have to be made by the next government as to the people who sit on that commission. It's clear to us that the commission reacted to political pressure, but clearly the rules, the way it's set up, aren't don't serve public interest at the moment. We've had several people who have been calling in various parts of the country asking whether the Green Party was disqualified altogether from the election, which you can see is a major problem for any political party. So the way in which they handle things was inappropriate, and I've asked for the commission to be to resign from their positions. They haven't. It's going to be up to the next government to decide what they would want to see happen with these people.
So when you said there might have been political pressure brought to bear to keep you out, who would have brought that pressure? Like, to whose benefit would it have been not to have you there?
Well, certainly, the Bloc and the NDP, the Conservatives were pretty happy that we weren't there. The Liberals were kind enough to give us, to indicate that they would have fought for us to be at the debates had they been consulted, which they weren't. But once again, this party's faced significant pushback from conservative segments of society. I think François Blanchet really, was happy to be the only Quebecer on stage and could claim the Quebec mantle his. I guess there will be time for more exploration of what exactly happened after the election. But certainly it's there's no question that it's something that disrupted our campaign significantly. Yeah.
So based on the fact that the Bloc were there, Yves-François Blanchet was there, the same criteria were in place. Should the Bloc have been in that debate at all?
Look, the Bloc was meeting two of the three criteria. So did we, but somehow they provided a new interpretation of the rule in a way that disqualified us, and we think they themselves recognized the commission, that is, that there was infringing on the rights of Canadians to know all of the options. So hopefully, Canadians will keep the pressure up to make sure that this commission and its mandate is reviewed, and that we ensure proper, diversity of voices at the next federal election.
So you were the first party to bring out your financial platform. And of course, today we're talking about the fact that the Conservatives will be the last party, despite the fact they've had the most time to bring a financial platform. What is your reaction to that?
Well, I found it interesting that we were the first to release our platform. We were the first to release our numbers. A lot of media, including CTV and others, didn't quite cover any of it and continued to claim that we, it's a very interesting election for us because clearly, the sort of the more general media have written us off from the get-go. So a lot of attention, of course, on the Liberal and Conservative, making this or trying to turn this into an election between only two different choices, and I think that's unfortunate because it certainly contributes to the further polarization of our politics, and we see how that plays down in the U.S.
Yet, with all due respect, I mean, the polling from the get-go has been basically a two-horse race, if I can put it in those terms. You're behind the NDP pretty much across the country as well, even at 10%. If you're lucky, you'd be up at 2.5% or 3%. I guess my question is, how do you keep moving forward, realizing that, the polls show that there's not going to be any kind of a big win for you here? That's got to be pretty disconcerting. How do you just keep pushing forward?
I think the polls are difficult to move when media doesn't quite cover the things that we have to bring forth. Which has been an experience not just through this election but also prior to the election. But when it comes to moving forth, a lot of Canadians want to see a healthy Green Party continue to do the fight, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing for our members, for Canadians who vote Green, and for the future of our country.
I'm looking at a couple of things that are in your financial platform here, and one of them is a $21 an hour minimum wage, which sounds great on paper, but like everything else in a financial platform, has to be accounted for some way. We heard the Liberals say they were going to be spending $130 billion here. The Conservatives criticized them for that, despite the fact we don't know what their number is going to be. What's your number? What's your total plan would cost Canadians?
I mean, all the other parties are basically saying that they want to, cut taxes and increase spending here and there, but they're not talking about how they're actually going for, how they're going to fund their. The NDP now just did, but it took them a long time. We've been very clear from the get-go. The corporate income tax needs to be increased. We need to have. We discovered during the course of our budgeting work that at 0.2% tax on financial transactions, not the ones where you go at the ATM and take out money, but the bigger financial transactions. A 0.2% tax on that would raise $250 billion over 5 years, and that's a lot of money that could help pay for education, education transfers, health transfers, build homes in this country, reduce inequalities. So we've, part of our role in this democracy is not only to increase awareness about climate change, but also to challenge some of the assumptions that some things simply cannot be done. And clearly we've heard repeatedly from the Conservatives, certainly, but also from the Liberals, that we can't possibly spend more on social programming, and that I think that's a very disheartening and difficult thing to hear at a time when so many Canadians are struggling, and where we know that the impact of the tariffs is going to have is going to cause significant problems for many families throughout the country.
I wonder too. So obviously, what stands out from the Green Party is your policy on energy, which none of the other parties mirror, because even Pierre Poilievre, when asked, couldn't say that he is or isn't for necessarily, pipelines across the country.
Oh, he certainly is.
Is he?
Well, I mean, he's been campaigning on that theme for a long time, and so is now Mr. Carney. I mean,
they're talking about an energy corridor. Does that mean pipelines to you?
No, of course it does. They're talking about a conventional energy corridor. I mean, let's not rewrite history here. We've got a Conservative Party that's been completely enamored with the thought of spending our money to help fund an industry that's controlled at 70% by American interests. And now the Liberals are joining the bandwagon because of how successful the Conservative propaganda has been. But we have two main parties here who seem to think that the future of Canada depends on its ability to continue to export fossil fuels that are causing the fires in Jasper and many parts of the country. So that's very unfortunate, and we'll keep fighting against these kind of poor economic and moral decisions by the two main parties.
Last thing I would ask, again, just to focus on this for a second, this imminent or possible imminent threat from the U.S. is the reason why this is important with respect to managing our own energy infrastructure, et cetera. There's no compromise for you on pipelines?
Then I have to ask why are we funding a so-called Canadian oil industry that's owned at 70% by foreign interests, most of them in the United States? If the threat comes from the United States, I mean, we have a lot of renewables here. We have all the potential to transform Canada into a renewable powerhouse, but instead we're choosing to spend billions, tens of billions of dollars into pipe dreams that most likely will not or could not be completed before Donald Trump dies of old age. So, once again, Canadians are being it's sort of the, snake oil being sold by the two main parties to help benefit their friends abroad and here at home. And I think that's unfortunate. I think our public money would be better spent elsewhere.
But we read last week that China's decided to stop buying oil from the U.S. and that business is coming to Canada. Does that mean something?
No, it certainly doesn't. I don't think we should be helping China accelerate its development no more than we should be helping the United States accelerate its development. More right now, we have three revisionist powers: China, the U.S., and Russia, that are actively working against the world order that so many Canadians died for during the First and Second World War. And I think we need to work with democracies, the EU, Australia, Korea, Japan, and make sure that we collectively stand strong to defend democracy at a time when it is being challenged precisely by these economic and military giants.
And that's where we leave it. Jonathan Pedneault, co-leader of the Green Party, thank you so much for the time. Appreciate it. Best of luck.
Best. Thanks.